and welcome to the Smell of Optimism. My name is Pratik Nayak, and today I'm going to talk about one of the challenges which most of the organizations are facing in this day and age, and that is a lack of leadership skill. Leadership has become a rare commodity in this day and age for most of the organizations. Now, before I talk about leadership and leaders, let me just define this term very quickly. So, who is called a leader? Many people have this misbelief that a leader is someone who is holding a higher rank in the organization. Many people would believe that a leader is someone who is holding the higher position or authority in the organization. To me, a leadership has got nothing to do with the rank, it has got nothing to do with the position, it has got nothing to do with the authority. It is something else. Now the question is, what is it required then to be a leader? Some would say a leader has to be charismatic, some would say a leader has to be inspiring, some would say a leader has to have a vision. To me, to be a leader requires one thing and one thing only, and that is followers. Right? You can never be a leader if you do not have people who would choose to follow you voluntarily. Right? You need to have those individuals who would raise their hand by their own will, a free will, and say, I choose to go in the direction that you have set for me. And when you have those bunch of people, then you can call yourself a leader. It has got nothing to do with anything else. But the question is, why would anyone choose to follow you? Right? Now, as it turns out, our human body is made up of 4 chemicals. That is endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. These are the 4 chemicals which are completely responsible behind every single feeling and every single emotion that we have at various points in time. Whether it be a feeling of joy, a feeling of fulfillment, a feeling of happiness, sadness, pride. Doesn't matter what the feeling is, but these 4 chemicals are responsible behind all those feelings. In other words, all these feelings are chemically produced feelings. The another fascinating thing about human being is that we are visually oriented animals. The thing that we can see looks more achievable to us. Right? We can only focus on something if we can see it visually. And that is why the companies call it a vision statement. Right? Because the things that you see becomes more achievable for you. The problem with that is that many companies do not even know what a true vision looks like. Right? Many companies today have the vision statements which do not even make sense sometimes. Let me give you some examples which I have seen myself. Some would say, we want to be number 1. Number 1 from whom? Some would say, we want to be the most respected organization. Respected by whom? Your dad? Your family? Don't know. In other words, they don't even make any sense. Right? So how can people be inspired to follow that vision if they don't make any sense? Now, this is where a true leadership job comes into picture. The job of a true leader is to make a vision which is close to the reality, which people can see, which people can be inspired and motivated towards. Right? And then they have to articulate the vision in such a way which inspire them to work towards that in the future and ongoing work. Right? Let me give you an example of a vision given by a true leader, a visionary leader, I would say. On the 28th of August 1963, 250,000 people gathered in Washington, D.C. to hear Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. speak. His speech was, I have a dream. In this severe heat, 250,000 people gathered to hear him speak. He had a vision He had a good vision. His vision was one day, little black children and little white children will hold their hands and play together on one playground. That was his vision, which people could see, people could relate to, right? And those who believed in his vision, they made it their own and spread it across to others. And then they made it their own and spread it across to others. And as a result, on that day, 250,000 people gathered, showed up without any invitation, without any marketing message to hear Dr. King speak. Do you know how many of them showed up for him? The answer is 0. They showed up for themselves. They showed up for themselves. They showed up for the vision which they had in their mind, which Dr. King just happened to articulate across to them. They showed up for the vision. They showed up for the world which they wanted to live in which they wanted to grow their children in. That is the impact of leadership, and that is the impact of a true vision. It will inspire others to give their blood and sweat and tears to make the vision come to life, because they know that in return they will get the purpose, the belongingness, and the protection from the leaders. Right? That is the magic of a true leadership. So that people would choose to follow you without any fear. The other thing about leadership which quite fascinates me sometimes is that a leadership is not something which is God-gifted. I believe a leadership is a skill. It is a practicable and it is a learnable skill like any other skill. It is like parenting, right? Every individual has the capacity to be a parent. It does not mean that everybody has to be a parent, and it doesn't mean that everybody should choose to be a parent. Leadership is exactly the same. Every individual has the capacity to be a leader. It doesn't mean that everybody should be a leader, and it does not mean that everybody wants to be a leader. You know why? Because leadership comes with a cost, and the cost of leadership is self-interest. That is the cost of leadership. Leaders, true leaders, have to be ready to give away all the credits when the things go right and to take all the accountabilities when the things go wrong. They have to be ready to do all those innocuous things which matter a lot in reality. Things like asking employees, "How's your day?" and stand there while they finish their answer. Not just, "Hey, how's your day?" and just go away. That is not a true leader. Things like holding doors open for your employee if you happen to come first, right? Things like staying up late at work to help your junior who is struggling to find the solution of a problem. These are the small things which are quite important to be a true leader, right? And these all are practicable and learnable skills, right? So that is the magic of leadership, and that is something which everybody has the capacity to do. It's all about whether you choose to do it or whether you don't choose to do it. Now, there is a reward as well of being a leader. And the reward of leadership is to see their followers, their employees grow and thrive. That is the reward of being a leader. That is the most fulfilling moment for any leader, to see their juniors grow and to see their juniors progress. You ask any leader, whether it's Steve Jobs or any other leader who has achieved a great success as a leader, they will say that the most fulfilling moment of my life is to see my juniors, is to see my employees progress and achieve so much so which even I could not achieve in my lifetime. These are the statements which they pass, because that is the feeling that they work towards, right? Sometimes leaders have the risk of losing their jobs to protect their juniors, but that is the risk which they run, and in return, they gave an immense amount of respect, an immense amount of satisfaction, an immense amount of support from their followers, from their employees. Right? A great team does not want to win the trophy for the country or for the state. A great team wants to win the trophy to make their coach proud. Right? And the moment the team wins the trophy and gives it to their coach, that is the most fulfilling moment for the coach. You ask any great coach, any great leader, they would say the same thing. They would say the exact same thing. Because every single great leader takes an internal oath that they would continue to believing in their employees even when their employees would stop believing in themselves. That is the oath which a great leader takes. Right? One more thing I would like to add to this is that our human bodies respond to the environment that we are in. You put a good person into a bad environment and he will turn out to be bad. Likewise, if you put a bad person who the whole society might have given up on into a good environment, and he will surprise you. That is the beauty of our human biology. We respond significantly to the environment that we are in. And the job of a leader is to create an environment in which everyone feels safe and everyone feels protected, and then only people would be willing to take risks. People would be willing to experiment, which requires failure, by the way. People would be willing to go far from what they could do to achieve something impossible, because they know that even if they fail, they know that even if they trip over, there are leaders who will watch their backs. They have the confidence that their leaders will take care of them. That gives them the power to do the impossibles. Right? But that is the environment which has to be created so that they can thrive, and so does the organization. Remember, there are leaders and there are those who lead. Thank you very much for listening to my speech today, and I'll see you in my next video of Smell of Optimism.